So for the past 41 days, while U.S. government operations have grinded to a halt and federal workers have been furloughed, and the most vulnerable Americans were left without money to purchase food, Donald Trump has been living it up like a wannabe king. On our dime, I might add. I mean luxury plane rides while flights were delayed or canceled at airports across the country. A lavish Halloween party while single mothers scrambled to find ways to put food on the table. Lavish bathroom remodels at the White House, and even a luxury prison suite for his BFF. Over the past 41 days, Trump has yet again shown us his true colors. But you know the drill. Before we dive in, hit that subscribe button and that bell so you'll be the first to know when we post. This is Pragmotiv News, and it's your boy Trey. So take a look at this video from Friday night on CNN.
Is she already distancing herself from the Democratic Socialist? Let's go out front. And good evening, I'm Erin Burnett. Out front tonight, the breaking news: Trump skips town. With another failed vote in the Senate moments ago, Washington not ending the nation's longest shutdown. Thousands of flights tonight delayed, canceled. And despite all of that, the President of the United States has just gotten on a plane, with no delays, to his Mar-a-Lago vacation home. According to FlightAware, more than 5,000 flights were delayed today. That's a lot of Americans impacted, and more than 1,000 flights were canceled. That's about a 600% increase from Tuesday. And it's about to get a lot worse. The Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, today warning that 1 in 5 flights could be cut coming up if the government shutdown drags on. Hold on. Can I just say 1 in 5? That's 20%.
So if this shutdown doesn't end relatively soon, the consequence of that is going to be more controllers don't come to work, and then we're going to have to continue to assess the pressure in the airspace and make decisions that may, again, move us from 10% to 15%, maybe to 20%.
And Americans would take the hit for that. But as I mentioned, one of the planes not delayed tonight was Trump's. So Trump was earlier going to Marine One, going to Air Force One, fired off a social media post saying the United States Senate should not leave town until they have a deal to end the Democratic shutdown. Translation: Trump wants the Senate to stay in Washington. Okay. But then the second part, while he, as you can see on the screen, just left for a warm weekend at his vacation home in Mar-a-Lago. No worries about Air Force One being delayed or canceled. And when Trump gets back to Washington, he plans to attend a football game. And that is consistent with how he has behaved so far during the longest shutdown in American history. He has acted as if it isn't happening. In the past 39 days, as things like flight chaos is affecting Americans across the country, Trump has added a new gold script sign outside the Oval Office. That just came in there. He has, of course, annihilated the East Wing of the White House as part of a spend of an estimated $300 million on a ballroom. He's renovated the Lincoln bathroom with marble and gold and hosted a Great Gatsby-themed Halloween party at Mar-a-Lago. Now, that's right. That is not commentary. The party was actually called "A Little Party Never Killed Nobody," which is a line from a song written specifically for the movie starring Leo DiCaprio, right? The Great Gatsby. And the party was all in. Political allies and celebrities were decked out in elaborate costumes from the roaring part of the 1920s, which, of course, came right before the big party crashed, 1929, and then the Great Depression.
Why does he need a sign to tell him what the Oval Office is? Hasn't he been president for like 5 years now in total? And he forgets what the Oval Office is? Yeah. But he says nothing wrong with him. As y'all can see, that lizard does not give a shit about using our tax dollars to fly around the country and pay for unnecessary renovations for a house he doesn't even own, while other people's flights are delayed or canceled. He could give a shit if you have an important meeting to get to, or if you have a gig in another city and not showing up means you don't eat. And to make matters worse, he then goes on his blog, Nothing But Lies Social, to chastise all air traffic controllers who cashed in on their earned vacation days during the government shutdown. Not because they went on vacation, Because let's be real, them knowing what they know about how important their jobs are, I highly doubt any of them was setting foot on a plane knowing they were running skeleton crews in the air traffic control towers. But getting back to my point, I doubt they were taking a vacation. They most likely had to use their vacation days to go drive Uber Eats or something just so they could pay their damn light bill. I mean, the way I see it, Donald Trump would never work for free, in my opinion. He makes sure he gets his money, whether it's through the frivolous lawsuits or threatening tariffs on America's richest corporations in exchange for donations to his library. He makes sure he has his coins. So why is he begrudging middle-class Americans for not working for free? It pisses me off. It's wrong on so many levels. Nobody should be living check to check like this in the world's richest country. But yet, here we are. But people apparently are finally starting to open their eyes about Trump. Now, I don't know why the fuck it took him so long. But following last week's landslide elections in the Democrats' favor, here is what the Austin American Statesman had in its paper today, or yesterday rather. It reads that, quote, Latino day laborers in Austin say Trump's economic promises have gone unfulfilled, leaving them with fewer jobs, higher prices, and a rising fear of deportation. It continues, last November, on the day after Donald Trump's resounding electoral triumph, I don't know if we could call it that, the American Statesman visited an Austin Home Depot and found among the day laborers waiting for work that day a relative sense of optimism about the Republican president-elect. A year later, on a similar morning at the same Home Depot, fewer men were waiting for work, and enthusiasm had dried up. I'll be honest with you, said Hector, 46, who was originally from Honduras. I was in agreement with a lot of what Trump had to say. But now it's a war on immigrants, especially Hispanics. Men like Hector and Jose Luis said they believe that the Trump administration has been disingenuous and that they are targets of its deportation efforts despite promises to focus on those who commit crimes. The Department of Homeland Security has said that enforcement efforts, quote, prioritize individuals who pose threats to public safety, though the data show that arrests of non-criminal immigrants have risen sharply since the start of the year. Yet, perhaps the deeper betrayal, they said, has been the spiraling sense of economic uncertainty during the past year, with less work, stagnant wages, and rising costs for food and housing. The unease is not new, but it has deepened. Quote, we said at least the economy is going to get better, said Jose Luis, 63, a Mexican immigrant who has worked as a day laborer for about 15 years. But it's been a disaster, he said. So normally, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt, especially on this show. I normally don't like to criticize people for speaking up because I believe it's very insightful to hear what people really have to say and hear what they're thinking. However, I have to say, what the actual fuck? What the hell did y'all think was going to happen if you reelected Donald Trump? I mean, it's not that damn hard. First, all you had to do was listen to his plans. His concepts of a plan. And you could have predicted this disaster. Or maybe just look at his first term that ended with over 1 million Americans losing their lives to a deadly virus and the American economy coming to a grinding halt. Even though I'm sure Trump had to have known about COVID in December 2019, seeing as though the World Health Organization reported on it December 31st, 2019. Him and his administration still gaslit us into ERs and, unfortunately, graves, telling us that that virus wasn't that bad. So I'm a really sympathetic person, most times to a fault. but I'm really finding it hard to understand what the hell they were thinking. It's just plain ignorance about how things in this country really work. And that's the main reason we created Pragmotiv, is to combat shit like that. The notion that Republicans are good for the economy when the current president mismanaged a pandemic, causing the economy to crash, therefore causing the inflation that we are still suffering from today. And the last Republican president before him oversaw the Great Recession. And then the one before that and his predecessor were the fathers of trickle-down economics that after damn near 40 years still haven't trickled down. I mean, come the fuck on. So while Trump and his MAGA cult continue to vilify people who need help from SNAP or who need subsidies to help afford these god-awful health insurance premiums we have here in America, he thinks your money is better used to fund a luxury prison cell for his longtime bestie, Ghislaine Maxwell. Y'all know, Epstein's girlfriend. Well, Trump has provided her, apparently in exchange for her silence, a real cushy resort-like spa in federal prison. Take a look at this article from MSNBC. Ghislaine Maxwell, the Jeffrey Epstein confidant and convicted child sex trafficker, is being waited on, quote, hand and foot by the staff at her minimum security prison camp while she prepares a request that Donald Trump commute her sentence, according to whistleblower revelations made public on Monday by House Democrats. Quote, the deference and servility to Ms. Maxwell has reached such a preposterous level that one of the top officials at the facility has complained that he is, quote, sick of having to be Maxwell's bitch, end quote. According to a letter to Trump from Representative Jamie Raskin of Maryland, the ranking Democrat on the House Judiciary Committee. In August, Maxwell, who is serving a 20-year sentence for helping Epstein prey sexually on children and young women, had an unusual interview with the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, who once was Trump's personal defense attorney. She told Blanche she never saw Trump behaving inappropriately. Of course she did. After the interview, she was transferred from a low-security prison in Florida to a minimum security federal prison camp in Bryan, Texas. The Federal Bureau of Prisons has not explained the transfer, which MSNBC and other outlets reported deviated from a policy that generally forbids sex offenders from serving in prison camps. Raskin's letter said Maxwell has received customized meals personally delivered to her cell after hours in her private exercise area, and access to, quote, a service puppy. Now, who do y'all know in prison who gets a puppy? Raskin went on to say that Maxwell was also afforded private meetings with visitors arranged by the warden, complete with snacks. The guests were allowed to bring computers, which Raskin described as, quote, an unprecedented action that risked Maxwell having unmonitored communications with the outside world. When the phone lines went down for other inmates at the camp, Raskin said Maxwell had friends and relatives call prison employees who then could help her speak to them. So as you can see, this is how Trump treats a convicted sex trafficker. But he threatens air traffic controllers who were forced to use their vacation time to work side jobs because the people who are paid six figures in Washington can't complete the simple task of keeping the government open and providing affordable health care to their own constituents. Okay, I got it. Like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with your friends and family. And make sure you follow @Pragmotiv News everywhere to stay pragmotivated. Also, remember that you can find us across major platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, and iHeartRadio so that you can listen to us even when you're out on the go. I'll catch y'all later. Peace.